Good afternoon and welcome back. It is the next episode of Podcone. It says that Lemon's Dieter, it says that Konnichi's Toby, it says that Laboleyn's Josh. That's definitely not right. Clearly something hasn't been changed there, but that's fine. I'll do that while you guys are talking. My name is Falcone, your already very confused host. The next person, though, to my left on screen, it's not Toby, but second time on the show, it's Konnichi. How you doing, Beth?
Hey, Dan. Yeah, I'm pretty good. How are you doing?
Good. Frantically trying to fix things, but otherwise, we're okay. You looking forward to... Are you glad to be back?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm glad I was invited back. Clearly, I didn't do too bad last time, so...
Correct
yeah, I'm excited to be
answer. Here. Yeah, good. There we go. I fixed everything. Okay, all good. But new to the show, two more names that hopefully, if you're watching live, you should definitely recognize. Underneath my cam on screen right now, we've got Laboleyn. Hey, Lucy. How you doing?
Hi, I'm alright. How are you? I mean, we've kind of established that, but it's all chill. Hi.
You were muted at the start there. You probably want to say that again.
Oh, I was just saying I'm good. Slightly awkward as per the usual, but how are you? How are you doing?
Awkward, chaotic. See, Beth learned from last time. Beth has asked me how I'm doing, and now everyone else is following suit. This is good. This is good.
Yes.
Great, awesome. And Lemon, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How are you today?
A little tired. I just got home from work, but other than that, I'm good.
That's right. I remember when I first approached you to do the show, you're like, oh, I don't know, I've got to work today, and I don't finish work until 3 p.m. your time. Well, that's fine. Podcast at 3:30. Oh, great.
Yeah. I thought it was earlier.
Well, there you go. It's all worked out nicely. So today, they're all quiet. All right, let me just turn you all up a little bit. Today, we are going to be talking about life as a streamer, because all three of you have been hitting the stream really hard. I think it's fair to say really hard since you started. Beth, we've already sort of talked about you and your stream last time you were on, and I know that you're working really hard on that and now producing the video content as well, which is awesome.
I am, yes, yeah.
Lemon, you stream... sorry, go on.
I was about to say, just trying to do content for all different parts now. Kind of never ends.
It doesn't ever end. Lemon, you've been streaming evenings, in your own time zone for quite a while now. And Lucy, I've only sort of known about you for the last few weeks, but you were streaming daily for quite a while, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've only really existed for the past 3 weeks. I mean, it's been a bit mad, but yeah, I just basically went full ham because I didn't know what else to do on furlough.
Only existed. Okay, all right.
No.
Yeah, well, and that's a great way of kind of getting into the stream and kind of getting you into the mindset that I want everyone on for the show, because a lot of people look at streamers, look at Twitch streamers, and they kind of think they either kind of think, oh, that's a waste of time, or they think, oh wow, how easy, that doesn't take any effort, you're just sitting there playing a video game. And that's kind of what I want to dig into on this a little bit. And I know that Beth, I know that you're heavily into kind of the same mindset as I am now, which is that like you can't just stream once or twice a week and expect anything to grow. Tell me what your kind of perception is about this.
So I think I initially started streaming just sort of thinking, oh, well, I'm not going to really have anyone here. It was never, I want to stream for the sake of streaming. I always kind of starting out to try and help my confidence a little bit. And I've kind of, as I've gone on, realised more and more that as you're streaming, like, it's not necessarily the easy part, but that's the bit where you have fun, you kind of do what you want to do, but it's outside of streaming where you're putting so much time into meeting new people, trying to find a way to get more viewers into your chat, so when you are streaming, like, you've got those people there. And I think that's like one of the biggest things I've noticed that I wasn't really ready for when I started. I didn't realise how many hours I would be putting in when I'm not in front of the camera. But yeah.
Right. And that's something that I think a lot of people after kind of starting, they don't realize that that's kind of, I think a lot of people start streaming and they kind of expect it to be a case of, oh, the more hours I'm live, the more people are going to just sort of wander in and find me. And that's not necessarily true. And I know that Lemon, you're starting to work pretty hard on content outside of streams too. I know that we've been talking about a little project of yours that I'm not going to out, but what's your kind of attitude about that?
Well, to be fair, I started streaming accidentally, and it's Yeah, that's a whole story for another time. But yeah, so I started accidentally, and it's actually in the last month or so that I started growing a lot. I haven't been doing what Konnichi has been doing as much. I have been a lot more active on my other social media to spread out about it, and I've been more active in other communities such as yours or Toby's.
Mhm.
But I don't actually talk about my stream that much, to be fair. But I definitely agree with you. The general rule of streaming, because streaming is not very searchable.
Right.
You can't have the attitude that you have with, for example, YouTube, where it is very searchable. There's an algorithm that makes you noticeable for other viewers. That doesn't exist for streaming. It doesn't exist for Twitch because it's based on numbers more. So the streamers who have all the numbers and already have a lot of content and have grown are obviously going to be at the top, and those are going to be the first ones you see.
Yeah, I mean, the algorithm is essentially as simple as you're playing this game right now. There are 50 people playing this game that have more viewers than you. You are the 50th down. And I know that there are other systems that Twitch sometimes implements. Like, there is a recommended streamer thing that some people have sometimes come into my stream and said, you are my recommended streamer list. I don't actually know what that's about or what causes that. I don't fully understand that. But yeah, Twitch isn't super searchable. But community is another big part of, I think, work outside of stream. And I think
it definitely is.
Laboleyn, this is an area where I think you particularly shine. You said to me before we oh, you're surprised. You didn't expect to be caught out like this. You said to me before that you weren't too bothered about posting in Discord because you think it's very much a lot of the same people that are in the server that are in mine. But I think from what I've seen, you have some very extremely dedicated. I don't even want to use the word fans. To me, the word fans almost feels like a dirty word. I kind of want to say friends. You've got some really dedicated streamer friends, and I'm assuming for you, community is a big part of the stream.
Yeah, I mean, so the reason I kind of started, well, I did some charity streams with Concrete Donkey way back when, and kind of missed it, but didn't know how to start. And I just kind of, when I was house sitting like 2 weeks ago, I was like, he has a setup. He said I can use it, get into it. Because I was getting this weird separation feeling from like the people, like, so obviously I'm close with like Dieter, Josh, I'm very recently close with Beth as well, like, and I'm kind of meeting all these people, but I was struggling to join in the chats, and I felt really isolated. And for some reason, since I started streaming, kind of having that chat there, and as you say, they're not fans, they are friends. It's like, it's my boyfriend, and it's like, you know, people I've known for a while, and they're just coming and keeping me company. And as I'm moving so far away from everyone soon, I'm kind of looking, like, it's become a really comforting source of like social time, because I was scared of losing that, and I felt like I had lost it. So the community is like the biggest bit for me, hands down, and I barely play the games that I'm supposed to be playing because I'm talking to people so much. It's great.
It really is one of the best things about Twitch. I mean, and these are some real friendships as well that you can make as a streamer on Twitch. When I used to stream Hearthstone full time, 5-6 years ago, whatever it was, I had viewers then that started watching me for Hearthstone that still come back and tune in now, and they've been friends with each other from back then. And like when I started streaming again, they're still hanging out without me. So like they're back in my stream again. It's like, oh great, it's like old times again. But like there's 5 or 6 of my old viewers that just started playing D&D together. They all met on my stream, and they've been playing D&D together for years. And I just think that's amazing that you can join a Twitch stream for a specific game, and then find that you have so much in common with these people that you're just friends for life at that point.
100%. Like, I think me and Lucy are a really good example of that as well, because we met accidentally in Concrete Donkey streams, just bonded like really, really quickly, and now we like message every day. We're helping each other with different things on their streams. We're doing fan art for each other. Like, we've gone like 0 to 100 really quickly in a friendship. Like,
well, because I think I saw you being hosted on Concrete Donkey's page, and I clicked on you, and then I just gave you all my bits, and I got really excited. Like, it's just generally like the yeah.
Yeah, you're not supposed to be giving out bits anymore, Laboleyn. I'm pretty sure I heard that people should be banning you if you. This
was before I started streaming, so technically I didn't break any rules.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. I'll let you off then. So Beth and Lucy, you both sort of came into the bubble both through Concrete Donkey, sort of in your own ways. Is that right?
Yeah, kind of.
I don't know if either of you want to kind of go into your background or what started you streaming in the first place. I think you've sort of touched on it briefly, Beth.
So I was very much, I was, as I said, a lockdown streamer. I think I mentioned that last time.
I started, that expression.
Yeah, there's a lot of us. And very much I was like, you know what, I'm going to give this a go, because something that I really struggle with is talking to people. And I wanted to do something where I could talk to chat and I could get used to interacting, like kind of get a little bit more used to my own voice as well, because I think that's something I struggle with. So I just started out really, really casual. And I was talking to Josh of Concrete Donkey, because I knew him from college and I knew that he streamed, ended up in his community and just got talking to more and more people. And I think that has probably helped me a lot. I then ended up that's how I ended up here, to be fair. I accidentally ended up in Downstream because of Concrete Donkey, and it's like that sense of community kind of led me more and more into different groups, and I've met more people, and that's then pushed me further to be more confident in what I'm doing, I guess. Mm-hmm. So I keep meeting these people that are jumping into my chats and I'm chatting to, and I think having those people that you can have a conversation with when you're streaming, it really improves your stream. Yeah. Because you're being interactive and you can talk to the chat, and then maybe someone will come in and join in with that conversation, and it just kind of creates this really, really nice kind of conversation. Mm-hmm. And I think that's quite a strong point with it all. Yeah.
So Lucy, what kind of started you streaming then?
So I met Josh kind of like September last year, and it was around the time the Battersea stream, like charity fundraiser, was going. And I kind of just started going on to the Concrete Donkey streams to talk about cat facts, because I've worked with animals. So it was kind of just, that was what kind of initially introduced me to what streams were like. And then when that was over, I kind of just faded off into the background because I was a bit anxious about it all, and then kind of ended up really missing it. So again, a bit like Beth, taking lockdown and equipment that I had to hand to use. So I was just like, I'm going to try this. And yeah, since then it's been a bit of a roller coaster. But I've loved every minute of it, because it's just kind of opened up my world. I was being very closed off, and it's kind of, everything is just, it's much broader now.
Right.
In fact, I blame Beth for kicking me into it, actually, because I was like, Laboleyn streams when? And she was like, well, you better start, and then kind of kicked me into
oh, really? That's how it started. Okay. And Lemon, you said that you started by accident. You wanna give us a little bit more detail about that?
Okay, so I think it was back in 2017.
Oh, wow, okay.
One of Toby's community members were streaming, so I didn't know what Twitch was. I just made an account and started being part of her community. And then I got some really good friends there who were like, we were on call one day, and I was like, I don't know what I want to do. I feel bored. I think I'm going to do some makeup or something. And they were like, let us watch. And this was before, you know, video call and stuff in a Discord server was a thing. And we totally forgot that group calls was a thing. So they were like, you have a Twitch account. Can't you just like stream it and we can comment and stuff like that? And that's how I got started. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I just did that for fun occasionally. I had about, I think, 35 or so followers from doing that. And then recently, after doing a lot of research, because I thought it was really fun, and I have been keeping up with other communities in the meantime where I wasn't streaming. So I did my research. I figured I love photography, so getting a new camera isn't really going to do me any damage. I think sound is important, so I got a new mic. My chair is horrible, so I don't mind investing in that either. And yeah, then about like a month ago or so, I hit affiliate thanks to Toby following me after I started streaming regularly.
So when did you start streaming regularly?
Month and a half, 2 months ago.
So you've all been streaming really not very long. I mean, Lucy in particular, but Beth, how long has it been for you now? Like 3 months? Something like that?
It's my 4-month anniversary
4 months.
On the 1st of August, which feels like a long time, but also a really not long time. Like, the amount I feel I've done in that space of time should not have happened in that space. But, yeah, no, it'll be 4 months, so.
I'm trying to remember when I sort of started hitting it hard again. Because, obviously, again, I streamed years ago and then sort of just streamed on and off, like, maybe once a month for the last few years since then. But I think I started again at around mid-March. So for you, was it early March that you started then, Beth?
April 1st.
Oh, well, early April. Okay, yeah, it would have been around that time for me as well. And again, that was purely a case of being bored due to coronavirus as well. I can't travel for work anymore. I've got all this equipment. I might as well use it in some way. So slightly different reasons for everyone starting. Now, I think streaming has changed a lot in the last 5 years. And this is where I come in with my back in my day, there was no Discord back when I started streaming. And I think Discord has changed the landscape of Twitch streaming quite a lot. Because suddenly, you make a community, you've got a way of keeping in touch with people day in, day out. Back when I started, it was Skype was the best we had. And Skype was rubbish. It wasn't really big group Skype chat, so like the very best I could do was if somebody was in my stream a lot, I'd add them on Skype and just start spamming them every time I go live on Twitch. Like, hey, just to let you know. But with a Discord server, so also back in my day, if I wanted to stay in touch with people generally, what I had to do was encourage people to stay in my Twitch chat when I wasn't live. And I had my Twitch chat open all day, and I just type in it. And back then there wasn't raids. It was just hosts. And hosts, I don't know if...
Yeah, you talked about that.
Yeah, I don't know if any of you have used the host system. It's worse than raids now.
Sometimes.
So I don't know. There's not many reasons to use it. But rather than like throwing you into someone else's stream, what a host does is it sort of puts their stream on your Twitch channel. They still get the viewers, but it's still your Twitch chat, your community. And so what some people used to do is they used to just have... I knew some people that didn't even stream. They would have a Twitch channel and they would use it to host a bunch of other channels. And people would follow them just to hang out with that community and watch whoever they were hosting. And that was kind of the only way back then that you could encourage people to sort of be a part of a community. But Discord has changed things dramatically. And I think especially with the sort of Concrete Donkey bubble, Beth and Lucy, you've had a lot of success in part thanks to Discord, and you've sort of been able to help grow other communities and grow your own communities as well with that. Would you say that's true?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, there was a bunch of us all hitting affiliate around the same time because basically we'd all raid each other, or like, for example, even if we were streaming, we'd like shout them out and be like, oh, this person we know from Discord who's really cool, like, and it was like a really nice way to kind of all bond and boost each other up, and then all of us kind of hit it around the same like few days.
Within the space of a week, I think we got about 4 or 5 people to affiliate just through like general support, not like full on like pushing it. It was just, we had this nice little bubble where people would either raid and sort of jump in together, and it was genuinely about 5 or 6 people hitting affiliate really, really quickly.
Just like wholesome content sharing with each other. It was...
Yeah.
Now, I just want to give a very, very quick shout out. Just everyone watching live in Twitch chat. I'm seeing you. I'm seeing your messages. I'm going to unlock the channel reward now for Ask a Question on the podcast. So if you've got anything that you would like to ask myself or one of the lovely guests, then please go ahead and redeem that reward. If you're watching on demand, you can catch the podcast on Twitch Wednesdays, 3:30 p.m. British summertime, twitch.tv/Falcone hosts. If you are watching live and you miss any of it, or you want to catch up on a previous week or miss a future week, you can catch it on demand on my YouTube channel and also on Spotify, iTunes, etc., etc. It's Podcone. It's not super difficult to find. It's a really stupid name. But yeah, moving on. The next kind of topic I want to talk about is things that I want to find out if you three had a specific thing that you expected when you were streaming, like an idea of what streaming is or what streaming is like, and sort of which of those expectations you think were met, and which of those expectations maybe weren't fulfilled. And I'm going to give you a second to think about it, because Lemon looks completely lost in thought right now, in particular. But if anyone
Don't call me
wants
out
to
like
jump in,
that.
call it out. Have you got anything in mind?
I mean, when I first started, I didn't have any expectations. Because as said, I did start accidentally. I didn't start with a goal or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
When I started up again with around, I said 35 followers when I started again before the whole affiliate thing, I expected it to take a lot longer for me to start growing a following, especially considering the fact that I don't actually make a lot of content other than Twitter out of streams.
Mm-hmm.
And yet in a little bit over a month, I've had over 100 followers following after I hit affiliate.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but that is also very much thanks to both your community and Toby's and Concrete Donkey, who's been sometimes rating me, Konnichi, who was also rated, and a lot of things like that. So that's been more shocking than anything, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't mind me saying, Lemon, I think you're one of the perfect examples. Something I've kind of been saying to people recently when they've like been a little bit worried about building their following or maybe seeing numbers is I'm like, if you go into people's streams, be the person that you'd want in your own chat. Because I remember one of the first times you came into my streams and you were just like, you were so lovely. You were like, oh, I really like what you're doing. Like, you were so engaged with what I was doing that I was like, I want to support this person back. And I think you're such a good example of kind of not necessarily needing to network outside of Twitch, so to speak, but because of how you are within people's communities, they will come to you kind of thing.
I guess.
I think you could say that about all three of you, actually. I think that's a fair comment to say. You're very, very. I mean, I find, at least in my Twitch chat and other ones that I've been to, you've all been very, very engaged with the content, which is great. But Beth, I get what you're saying. Really, is that for Lemon, it's an evil scheme. It's a ploy. She's nice. She's nice in our streams and engaging because she's trying to win us over. That's it, right?
No, not at all. I'm glad you think I'm that malicious, though.
But no, to the original question, Beth and Lucy, if any of you have any ideas of any, like, if there are any expectations you had when you first sort of thought, okay, I'll start streaming, or with Lucy when you first did the Battersea stream, if there's anything you sort of expected streaming to be like and actually found out it's not like this, it's actually like this.
I didn't have any expectations when I did the Battersea stuff because honestly, I think at the time we kind of didn't realise that we'd actually end up raising quite a lot of money together. That was just completely separate and blew out of the park any expectations. I mean, we didn't know what to expect and it went absolutely mad. With my personal streaming, I actually was expecting quite a negative experience, which I'm glad to say it didn't happen, but I was terrified. I'm quite open about this. I've got quite bad anxiety, and so the idea of putting myself back on like a public forum where people can just say what they want and kind of, I was very aware, and I was just like, oh, they're going to call me cringy. They're going to make fun of how bad I am at gaming. I was so scared, and it hasn't been like that actually. I found like this is my entire social life now, pretty much, because you know, lockdown, and also it's where I like being. But it's been such a kind of, I don't want to say enriching because that sounds pretentious, but it has been enriching because it's kind of brought a lot of positivity to my life that I did not expect to have. I thought my first stream would last 10 minutes, and as you said, I kind of went a bit extra OTT over the top because I just loved being with my friends that much, and it's been amazing. So I had a complete turnaround from expecting the worst and getting actually the best thing.
That's really interesting.
Without being too cheesy.
You kind of came into it expecting to not. So if you were actually expecting it to be bad, why did you start? Like what sort of took you over the edge? Boredom?
I think it was a mixture of things. It was a bit of boredom. Yeah. It was the fact that I was house sitting and I was like, well, I have this equipment. It would be rude not to try. And also, I mean, I used to do kind of like just talking nights with Dieter, and we hadn't really had the chance to, and he was waiting for a new computer, and I wanted to try it and see if I liked it. And then, as I said, with like uni coming up, I'm going to be so far away from everyone that it was kind of I thought it might be a good way to kind of keep in the community, because I was getting to the point where I was too scared to even like message people in their chats. Even if I was lurking, I'd be too scared to say hi. Mm-hmm. And it's completely turned all of that around. I didn't think it would, but I thought, you know, no, I've got nothing left to lose. I might as well just yeet myself into the fray and see what happens.
I think not to sort of try and generalize in any way whatsoever, but I think it's quite common for those of us that do are kind of into video games, and you know, we game a lot, and maybe a little bit more of our social life is online than off. I think a lot of us kind of have some of these anxieties, especially social anxieties. I know that when I was sort of starting to stream, and I first, again, I'm talking 5 years ago, back in the Hearthstone days, where I started making content and started interviewing people, and I was quite nervous even to jump into a voice call with people that I didn't really know very well. Maybe I'd watch their stream for a bit, but like, gonna have to be in a voice call with them. What are they gonna think of me? What are they gonna, if I've got them on my show, like, are they gonna think I'm running it badly? Are they gonna judge me for this? Like that kind of thing used to bother me, and I don't know if that's kind of a similar anxiety to what any of you have had in the past, but I think maybe a life of playing video games makes some of us maybe a little bit shy. Is that the word?
Well, I
I
wouldn't
think as well,
necessarily
like,
say
I
that we're shy.
very much agree with where Lucy was coming from, the kind of expecting it to be a negative experience. I think there's a lot of, like, you kind of see online about all of this kind of, like, trolling or, like, people going into chats and being, like, horrible to streamers. I think from a person that hadn't done it before, I was really, really scared of what I was actually putting myself in for. And then I was hit by, like, kind of the complete opposite, because I think I very much feel the whole kind of, oh, what are people going to think of me? I very much grew up as kind of the weird kid that liked video games and collected too many Pokemon cards. And
You didn't even have webcam on the first few streams, did you, Beth?
no, I didn't webcam until about 2 months into streaming. Because I was that anxious that I would have people come into my chat and be really horrible to me. But I think that's kind of also what I wanted to overcome. It was I'm terrified of this, so I'm going to do it. And I was so surprised that I was met by so much support. Like, I do still call myself like this weird girl on the internet, but people come into my chat and seem to enjoy it. And there's been times after streams where I've called people and like, why are people like in this stream watching me draw like cursed Furbies? Like, why are people here? But people enjoy it, and I'm like, well, cool, I'll keep doing it, but I don't understand.
Yeah,
The
I
only
mean,
cursed art I think you have is the swirls, but you already know that.
it's your brand now. It's your brand now.
I hate it.
Yeah.
I absolutely hate it.
I think I have a new brand every week.
There definitely is a nasty side to Twitch and Twitch chat. It's not the side that we get with our lovely little small community streams with the nice people that come in, and as soon as someone says something mean, I just ban them off the face of the earth. It's not quite, because obviously with some of the esports events I've hosted over the last few years, I've been in some much bigger streams, and I've been sort of the face and voice of some of these much bigger streams. And if you Google my name on Reddit, especially if you Google like Falcone Hearthstone Reddit, you will see endless amounts of horribly insulting things. And to be honest, at first, there was a period of time where I'd recently started casting. I did my first DreamHack event in America, and I just saw this horrible hate messages about me all over Reddit. It made me feel really quite depressed. And you do kind of get a little bit thicker skinned over time and get over it. But yeah, luckily the area and so for a few years I was personally actually kind of hating Twitch chat. I don't think I even read Twitch chat for a few years. But then there is this lovely side of Twitch, which is the side that we are all experiencing, which is these great communities that are checking us out and joining our Discords and supporting us and that kind of thing. And it is all really quite wonderful. So yeah, never really any reason. No horrible Twitch troll is gonna dig through the directory, find a small streamer, and try and make their life miserable. I mean, I hope not. Anyway. But yeah, so positive then. Beth and Lucy, you both said that you kind of, if anything, had a fear of starting Twitch or an anxiety about it because you thought people were going to be negative. But actually, it's been a positive change. Has the social side of Twitch surprised you in any way, or was that something you kind of expected?
Massively surprised me.
Yeah.
I have met, so admittedly, like with my university, I went to a very creative university, so I did meet quite a few people like me. But I think I grew up in a very, very small town. Like, I didn't know many people that were similar to me, that were like into doing like certain games, into doing kind of art and that kind of thing. I didn't know many people. Yet coming into this community, I find these people that have got the similar interests, and you just kind of form this bond instantly because you know that you've got something in common. And I wasn't ready for that. That was don't get me wrong, very, very pleasant surprise. But it's like the two girls we have here, I think the first time we started speaking, like, we just got on, and that I wasn't ready for that, but in the best way. I was happy that it happened. And I think that happens a lot more than you expect it to as well.
Yeah, but I think one of the reasons why people expect it to not happen, I'm sorry, Laboleyn, you can continue afterwards, is because you're used to being the weird kid. You're used, I think the reason why people are so surprised, especially in your guys' cases with this, is because everyone who kind of watches Twitch and are interested in stuff like that are used to being the weird kid. they're used to being kind of picked on or being the nerd or the geek or whatever in their school. And so I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of people connect over the internet and over communities such as dance, for example.
Yeah.
Okay, now you can continue.
So we're a bunch of misfits.
That's
is what
all
you're
right.
saying.
Yeah, basically.
Go on, Lucy.
I mean, I was going to say exactly the same thing. Like, they
Oh.
like us coming across, and we're always like self-deprecating, like, yeah, I'm the weird kid, I'm here, like, doing weird things, and they're like, we're weird kids too, it's fine. And like, yeah, it's been mind blowing how like the close friendships I formed, even in such a short time. Looking at you, Beth, it's phenomenal. It's amazing. I love it.
All right, awesome. Well, this has been a lot of positivity. I guess the next thing I want to ask you about, not that I'm trying to get any negativity out of you at all. That's not the goal. The next thing I
You
want to
need
ask you
some
about.
dark,
Dan.
emotional backstories.
Next thing I want to ask you
Oh,
about is
no,
affiliate,
please.
because all three of you have hit affiliate.
Okay.
In the last few months. Is that something that you kind of expected to happen when you started streaming? And you thought, I'm going to spend some time doing this. Did you expect to get affiliate so quickly? And did you expect to end up having, again, the word fans kind of feels dirty, but like, did you expect to have people actually subscribing to you and throwing money at you and being like, yes, I like your content, please keep going? Or did you think that was something that would just never happen?
I thought that would never
I
happen.
very
Hands
much
down.
expected to stay at like 2 or 3 views. Maybe I'd do this for like a couple of months, get my confidence up a little bit, and then I would kind of just leave it be, was really what I was expecting to happen. I think I hit affiliate in a week, and I was like, oh, okay. And then all of a sudden, I was getting subscribers, and it kind of went a little bit more crazy than I thought it would. Like, I never expected that to be a thing. But, I don't know, it just caught me off guard. I think, I could sound so horrific here, for some people, I think it is easy to kind of hit that bar quite quickly. Maybe if it is because you are in like communities that are going to jump in and support. And if you've got that community, it's not too hard to get like the average viewers up quite quickly. And then all of a sudden you're kind of thrown into this world. Like, you can actually make money now from what you're doing. And it's like, what?
Now,
If that makes any sense.
It does.
Yeah, of course. I kind of particularly want to get Lemon's point of view on this. Because, Lemon, you have been known to... What are the words I'm looking for here? You've been known to do some gifts. You've been known to do a lot of gifts yourself. And so I'm
That
curious
is true.
as to what your perspective is now, being on the other side of it as a streamer. Were you expecting to get this affiliate button?
Okay, so the thing is, I knew realistically speaking, because I do struggle with anxiety myself sometimes. So I tend to rationalize everything if I ever get doubts. It's one of the ways I deal. And so I knew realistically speaking, yes, I would probably hit affiliate at some point. I already had the views. I already had the, everything other than the following until Toby came around after I nearly broke Phoebe on his stream. And so I knew I would hit it at some point. I just never thought I'd hit it that quickly. And I never expected the growth that came afterwards. One of the times I grew the most, or I had noticed the most, was actually after you shouted me out in one of your streams, Dan. I didn't even stream that day, and I got 12 new followers, and a bunch of them came in the next day when I was streaming. I was like, excuse me? What?
There you go.
So that was surprising, to say the least. I sort of pity you when I give you gifts and stuff like that, because I know when King did it to me, I got really overwhelmed. I didn't know how to deal with it. And then here you have me in total giving you, 95 subs in total now?
Oh, really outing yourself. Okay.
Yeah, but so I mean,
So
I get where you're coming from.
Lemon, your perspective was that, yeah, I expected eventually to get affiliate, because I guess at the end of the day, the goalpost for affiliate, and Beth, we've spoken about this before, the goalpost for affiliate actually isn't that extreme, you know. It's average of 3 viewers, streaming for X amount of hours, 50 followers, great, done. So the next question I'm going to ask you is, looking forward, the P word, partner. Is that something that the three of you are looking at seriously? Is it something that you're kind of going to casually try and grind towards it, but not really have your hopes up, but got an eye on it? Or do you think it's something that's nope, completely out of the question? Where do we all stand on that?
I personally wouldn't want to be one.
So I'm
like, I do. Yeah.
You go.
I was actually just, I personally, it's not for me. Like, I do really enjoy being part of the community, and I do enjoy streaming. But at the end of the day, I still want to be a zoologist. So kind of like once I get to uni, it's going to kind of like quiet down a bit. So it is. And it'll still be something I do for fun. But
it is purely a hobby for you. It's not you don't even want it to be anything more than that. You wouldn't.
No, I don't need it to be.
Okay.
It's like, I mean, if it happened, it'd be like, oh, okay, cool. But then I wouldn't even be able to commit to it as much as like I wouldn't be able to commit the work in that needs to be done. So it's it'd be like a catch-22.
Sure. Lemon, have you got any? Are your eyes set on partner?
I mean, to be honest, yes. The dream would be to be able to live off of the things that I love doing, one which is Twitch. Realistically speaking, I imagine it taking at least a couple of years till I get there. So, like, I'll just continue doing what I do. I'll continue having fun with it. I'm not going to get obsessed with it or anything like that, or upset if it doesn't happen. You know, it would be amazing, but it's a goal, of course. But what's most important is just having fun with my community and hanging out. So yeah.
Okay, so we've had a no. We've had a hopefully eventually. Beth, I want to hear it now. I want to hear it. Yeah, I'm going for it.
I am going for it. I'm not gonna lie. So
yes, Beth.
I think what a lot of people kind of maybe don't realize, if you've come to my streams, you would probably have heard me talk about this. But I actually run a small business, which is why I stream art. I do like a small business of selling my art, and I also work on commissions. So streaming is kind of this weird extra add-on to my job, where rather than just doing my job in private, I make the internet watch me do it. Which, I mean, sure. And I think I was so surprised by how kind of well I did at the start. And I've been putting the time in, and I really, really enjoy giving my all into something. I always have done. I'm very much go hard or go home. And like the amount of hours I'm putting in this, I'm going for partner. Otherwise, it's a bit of a shame all these hours I'm putting in. When it happens, it happens. Do not get me wrong. I'm not saying like I'm going for partner like by the end of August, because that's not going to happen. But it will. I'll get there one day. I'll keep putting the time in, and the way it's been going, the things I've been doing, it's been paying off. So why not go for it?
I really love to hear that, because I think, Beth, I have a kind of a similar attitude to you in terms of the go hard or go home side of things. Like, I can be quite lazy, or I can be completely the other way around and properly like going for something. And when sort of coronavirus lockdown started, I was being quite lazy at the time. I still got my job in esports, doing it from home. Still got the job. It's just taking less time, so I've got more because I don't have to travel to go there. So I've got all this free time. What should I do with it? Oh, I guess I just lounge around and play some video games. And then one day it's just like, oh, I guess I'll stream for a go, just for a bit of a hobby, just once or twice a week for a few hours. That very quickly turned into 5 days a week for 7 hours, and then making content on the side. I can't like half do something. I can't. I don't know what it is. I can't let myself do that. So I love to hear. I love to hear that you're planning on really going hard.
I think I've been very surprised. Like I'm quite honest about it. Like it's not something that I'm gonna shy away from, because the way I see it, it's just a goal at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be ashamed of it. But I have noticed that a lot of like streamers that are maybe kind of hitting sort of 15, kind of 20 views, they're almost ashamed to admit that they want to go for partner because they feel it's too far away. And I just kind of think that there's nothing wrong with saying that you're aiming for that. There's no shame in it. But I think if you kind of are like, yep, I'm going to go for this, I'm going to keep improving it, like your community sees that as well and they want to help with that. I think it's, why not go for it? If you enjoy streaming, even if it is kind of a hobby that you're willing to put the time in, there's no shame in aiming for that. It's the next big goal. Why not go for it?
Well, I think there's different ways you can go about it, right? Like the thing is with Twitch compared to YouTube, Twitch is quite competitive. with YouTube, if you and your friends are all making videos, that's great. Your viewers can watch their videos, then watch your videos, then watch the next video. But with Twitch, if two of you are streaming at the same time, and people haven't got a PC and willing to jump between multiple streams and multiple monitors or whatever, you're kind of naturally competing against each other, and there's not that much you can do to avoid that. So I think there's definitely an attitude that some streamers can have where they're sort of like, I'm going to get partner and I'm going to step on anyone I possibly can and try and leech from their community and do whatever I possibly can to get there. And obviously that's bad. But I think you know, the way that you're doing it, the way that any of you would be doing it, and myself and hopefully anyone in the community, where we try and obviously we want to grow, but I also want to help each other. Like I want my channel to be bigger so that people that post in my Discord server their own streams, they get more viewers come from that, and that they can grow their communities more, etc., etc. And I think there's a bad way of growing Twitch where you're quite selfish, and there's hopefully a good way of growing Twitch where you can also help each other and sort of all grow together. And I think if that's what you're doing, I think admitting that you're hitting it hard and going for partner, I think that's great. I think people love to see the energy and see the effort. But on that note, switching back over to Lucy for a second. So for you, it's just a hobby, but you say it's a hobby that you do want to keep up even when you're back to university, etc.
Yeah, it's, as I said, it's definitely done something to the way I communicate, and it's opened me up to like having social interactions more, even though it's obviously all digital. Like I used to just not talk to anyone apart from like my cats. So it's kind of upgraded me in that sense. I'm talking like a bot now. I've just had an upgrade, but it's definitely done good for me in other ways. Like hitting the affiliate was a nice surprise considering the circumstances and everything, but I'm kind of happy with that because like when I get to university, my priority will be studying.
Yep. But
then this will be a good way to like kind of like, for example, I might hop on someone else's stream and chat for a bit, and then I can go and play a game because it also encourages me to play games again because I'd stopped doing that as well for some reason. So it's kind of just brought my life a bit more balanced as opposed to just kind of hiding in a corner somewhere reading a book and crying about Anne Boleyn dying in 1536. But you know, it's just it's kind of made me feel a bit more human if I'm honest. So I'll keep it up. So for sure.
Would you say that you are actively trying to grow your stream, or is it purely a fun thing for you where the numbers don't matter and etc., etc.?
I would say it's weird. I don't really care about growth. Mm-hmm. It's nice if it happens. If it doesn't, it's no big deal. The numbers, however, do have a thing for me. So I've got a very big thing with numbers in general. So I'm like this with Instagram. I'm like this with the scales. I'm like this with everything. I monitor numbers like obsessively. So I'm trying not to do that. But the actual what the numbers mean doesn't really make any sense to me. It's just like whatever. But if the numbers change, I'm just like, oh, so why have they changed? What's going on? It's a weird. They don't matter, but I focus on them. It's it's not a healthy mindset. I'm trying to break it.
No, I relate a lot.
Well, it's good that you bring that up. It's good that you bring that up because now we can actually have a bit of a conversation about numbers and whether you look at them or not. So Lucy, you do look at them. For you, when you're streaming, you have the numbers up. You I guess use them to determine whether you're doing well, whether you're not doing well. Is that kind of what you mean, or?
Yeah, it's more of like, it doesn't matter if there's not many people, but if I see, for example, I can see the numbers of people in chat and there's stuff going on in chat, I'll be like, okay, this is a good number of people. I've got people to talk to, and then that's kind of where my comfort lies in the numbers, as opposed to me being like, oh, I only had 5 viewers today. That's rubbish. I'm not going to worry about that. It's more just, there are people. I don't care how many people. It's just there are people, and I will talk to them, and it's fun. That's where it lies in it for me. If that makes any sense. Sorry, I ramble a lot.
No, absolutely. Lemon, you use the numbers when you're streaming, or do you have them turned off?
I have my view count on just because I feel a little bit more in control. That is more for my mentality's sake. But like Lucy was saying, I don't really get upset if I have lower numbers one day than I have another day, especially since, for example, yesterday I switched games. I streamed something I'd never had before. But I do like to see the analytics of it just so that I know what can I improve on, what is a good time for people, and things like that. So that's why I like to look at the numbers. But I think you have to be very careful, because if you get too caught up in it, then it can be very demotivating, especially if you do see like a lack of growth compared to before, or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's true. I think it can be quite motivating when it's going up, but demotivating when it's going down. And I think
Exactly.
human nature, unfortunately, I mean, at least for me, bad news can have more of an impact, more of a negative impact on my mental state than good news can a positive. So loads of good things could happen in a day, but then if one bad thing happens, that could ruin my day. And I don't know if that's something that other people have in common or if I'm just weird. But Beth, to the same question, numbers. Do you look at them while you're streaming?
So I have a very particular routine now.
Okay.
So I will have the numbers on when I start streaming. I'll have my stream starting soon. When I know that I've got some people to speak to, or like about 5 minutes has passed, I'll turn those numbers off and I'll start. I only want to know that there's people in a chat that I can talk to. Because I know that if I'm, say, on 30 viewers and that drops to 18, I know that I will take that. Because I will suddenly, my mind will go, what did you do wrong? And I know that as soon as that happens, that's my mood dropped for the stream, so I don't want to do it. I think something I've realised, and it's what I want to work on, is I've noticed that my mentality and my headspace before I start a stream will affect the whole way that that stream goes. So I will make sure I'm getting ready before stream. I'll get myself ready and I'll make sure that I am like mentally prepped to do it. Because if I go into that and I have a good vibe, then I know that when I'm chatting to my any of my viewers, then I will keep up that positive vibe. And the fact is, if people are coming in and you're like happily chatting away, you probably are likely to keep going up in those numbers. Whereas if I notice a drop and then I go quiet, I feel like I'm probably going to turn away some of the people that are already there because maybe my mood's changed and they're like, oh, she seems a bit grumpy now. Don't want to stay around. So I'd rather not know and stay in that happy headspace. And to be honest, be like blissfully unaware that I'm being like really happy to two people.
Right.
Rather than panicking that maybe I've dropped a few.
I think that's a really good way to be.
I noticed I was getting very fixated on it. And I was like, you know what, let's stop this before you take this seriously.
I used to be very fixated on it, and one day, way back in the Hearthstone days, where I sort of my growth, maybe I had a bad day or a bad few days, and I thought, oh, I'm losing everything, oh, it's a disaster. I decided at that point I'm going to turn it off. However, so I don't know how you have your Twitch overlay that you're looking at. I used regular OBS Studio, and I have my Twitch dashboard up on the actual website, where it shows viewers. You can click on it, and it will just replace the number with a hyphen, and it won't show you.
Yeah.
But if you mouse over it, it'll show you the number. I have mine switched off all the time. But I mouse over it about once every 3 minutes. And I wish I didn't. I just can't help myself. Like I want to know what's going on. So I might as well have it turned on. But yeah.
I think I focus more now on like the stream average when I finish.
Yeah.
Because like with doing art streams, I know that there's streamers that I'm friends with that we maybe share communities with, and there could be a time where either they've gone live or they've gone offline, and then like the average will be a better reflection of my stream. Or like I'd rather look at that and be like, oh, okay, so today was slightly quieter. Maybe I realised that the content I was doing that day wasn't as interesting, so I'm like, okay, so next time I maybe do something different. Because I think that when it's done, as bad as it sounds, if you look and you're like, oh, my average was lower, you're not on stream, so you can kind of accept it, and it doesn't feel bad if you're a little bit annoyed by it, because no one's going to see that at the end of the day.
I have decided not to stream certain games anymore as a result of looking at that. I think that looking at the analytics after the fact is a very useful tool to have. But yeah, I think if your mood is going to get affected by the numbers, as mine has definitely done in the past, it's just better to try and stay away from that. We've actually had quite a few questions come through now. Again, people watching live are spending channel points to ask questions, so I'm going to start going through those now. We've had Tommy D first asking their question, which is, how important is variety to a new streamer? Is it better to stream one thing and try to build a base of viewers who come for that one thing, or have more variety to try and find viewers with different interests? How do you balance breadth of reach with retention? Now, I have very strong opinions on that because I've now done both. But I would love to hear what you three have to say, if anyone has any thoughts.
I mean, I can't really offer a solid opinion on that.
Ah.
Oh, sorry, Lemon. Just because so the first week I streamed Rogue Galaxy non-stop.
Mm-hmm.
And then I switched to Spyro. And then so I've kind of done one game at a time, but then I'm technically switching over a longer period of time. But that's just because I don't have any schedule plans yet. So it's kind of just, I basically base it on the day-to-day switch. So I can't really say what it's like to have that kind of, or the difference in growth. So I can't, yeah. It's just saying, sorry, I can't help.
You're good. I mean, I personally think that if you're starting to stream, streaming variety in the beginning is the best, because then you can find out what you enjoy streaming. I don't know if you guys know this, but before I became a part of dance community, I actually streamed Ducky Ducky Literature Club because my friends have been obsessing about it and really wanted me to play it.
What a game to stream. Ooh.
And I don't know. It was interesting, but it wasn't for me. And at the same time, I would do, for example, Stardew. I found that a lot more fun. And yeah, I dabble into different things just because then you know what you like and what you don't like. I think, yeah, it's important to grow your community. So variety is definitely a good thing. Although having those very passionate viewers for one specific game is technically a good thing too. You're gonna run out of viewers at some point. Just business, from a business perspective. Another thing is also just the fact that, Dan, you said it for yourself with variety. I can talk. Variety. They tend to stay for you instead of a game, and for me that works the best. So yeah, I think, yeah, try different things, find out what works for you. Is the best advice I can give to that.
Now, Beth, you're almost a one-game streamer in terms of your art. Almost. What is your thoughts on this?
So I did try streaming games for a little bit, and I think that is where like my opinion for this comes from. No matter what the game is that you're playing, unless you are like kind of top level pro, you're probably going to be streaming that bit game, and people will be staying around because of your personality. So I think it's very much like, say for example, maybe you want to stream like Dark Souls. Dark Souls is something that you know a lot about. You know that your personality, like you can talk about that, you can join in with your chat and that kind of thing. If you think that you're going to thrive with that, then that's going to be better for you than being a variety streamer, because you know that you're going to be passionate about it and your chat's going to pick up on that. But if you want to kind of stream as a personality, like, I'll be honest, kind of like how you do that. I think that's probably the best example. People stay around more for you. You do get people that come in for the certain games, but maybe they don't stay for other ones because they're there for that certain game. But then there are people that will stay with you for the whole time because they're there for you. So I think it kind of depends, like, why you want to stream, like, what is your thing? Because, like, I'm an art streamer. People come to me for art. They stay because I'm weird. But, like, I've had people jump into my stream because I use a system called Procreate, which not many artists tend to stream with. So I'll get people coming in and just talking to me about that. And I know that if I streamed a game, they're probably not going to be interested in that. So I've kind of decided, you know what, just doing art is right for me. So
that way you can sort of treat it like a job as well, especially if you're doing commissions while you're like, and then you can play games in your own time and still have them be fun and do that however you like. Now, growing a single game stream is easier. It just is. As long as you're streaming a game that's popular, that has enough fans of the game, where you will be seeing people coming in. Growing a community around one game is easier. When I grew my Hearthstone stream, I got up to 80, 90, 100 concurrents, and that was great. But as soon as and you brought up Dark Souls, Beth, one day I decided, no, I'm going to try streaming Dark Souls today. I streamed Hearthstone for a few hours. I'm going to have a go at Dark Souls. I'm kind of bored of Hearthstone today. My view count would go down from 80 to about 12. Literally that drastically. Because the community of people, they were there because they liked my Hearthstone stream instead of the others. But as soon as I'm playing a different game, they're like, oh, I just want to watch Hearthstone. Boop, out. So I feel like, although it might be harder to grow a variety stream, I think in the long run, I mean, if I was still full-time Hearthstone streamer, fantastic. But then what if the game dies? What if for some reason Blizzard decides to delete the game from existence? then what? Do I just lose all of my viewers at that point? I don't know. Maybe. So the upside to variety is that I think it's more of a stable community that gets built. It's not like if suddenly I get worse at a game or I don't want to play a game anymore. It's not like suddenly I lose everyone. So I think that you can stream either way. They both have pros and cons. Right now, for enjoyment's sake, mostly, I like doing variety. I think being able to stream more what I feel like playing than being stuck playing a single game is good. Thank you for the question, Tommy. Winter Blades asks, most memorable stream moment. Does anyone have anything that just jumps out at them?
I've got two.
Hit us.
So there was when I had a raid from this streamer called Falcone Hosts.
I know this one already.
And I was met with great kindness is how I will word it. I had some people being really, really lovely to me, but the thing that is ingrained in my mind, and I apologise, this is a slight trigger warning, is the phrase arigato is so embedded in my brain now because I heard that 60 times in a row whilst I sobbed. So that's one. That's probably the one that I as much as it was lovely, it's painful. So I had something the other day when I'd got a sub goal up, and I was getting closer to it, and I think someone had subscribed, and I'm like, oh, I'm really close to this goal now. And something I've started doing, and sorry if this is a little bit visual, is I've got confetti now. So for whenever I hit,
that's awesome.
I get a subscriber. Oh, bear with. So whenever I get a subscriber, I do that. Someone gifted 10 subs and I hit my goal, and I was like, I don't know what to do. So I just poured this whole tub of confetti on my head, and you can see in the clip this moment of regret on my face. And I haven't cleaned up the mess yet, and honestly, I am finding confetti in my kitchen, it's in my bed, it is everywhere, and it's like these moments they're haunting me. I've just seen a poll that's come up that says arigato as well. Mine are just why has she done this? It's just, I've got confetti everywhere again.
I need to see this clip.
That.
I need to see it.
I remember that. I was hilarious. There for that.
And then there's this moment you see me and I look at this tub and I tip it and I'm like...
It's like you almost thought it through, but you didn't quite make it.
Not 1 sub, but 10 subs. I don't have 10 hands, so... Ah, well, the bucket.
Do not know what my thought process was. It was instant regret, I'll tell you that. And I'm now known within that person's community. Oh, this is Konnichi. I like that kid. She pours confetti on herself. That's all I'm known as. They don't care about my art. They can care about me as confetti girl.
It's a really cool idea.
I feel like that's a good legacy.
It's cool.
It's fun.
Lucy, Lemon, any highlights that spring to mind?
Okay,
Lucy,
so
do you
mine's
wanna go first?
actually... sorry, I just jumped straight in. I was
go.
No, so it's gonna sound really silly. So I mean, I've had a couple of crazy days of just intense support, but there was this one day, and it was the last day of my first week of streaming. And so for anyone who doesn't know about a game called Rogue Galaxy, I had not defeated it in 13 years, and it was my last day of the stream because I thought it was my last day with the equipment and the setup and everything. So I was like, okay, I'm going to finish this game today, I'm going to beat the boss. And I had the most people in my chat that I've ever had, and everyone was spamming emotes, and it was crazy. I got to the final bit and the final boss, and then I died. And it was that was the moment really, because there was all this hype and all this build up, and there was this intense chat, and it was so much fun, and then I failed. And then it was just this anticlimactic oomph moment, and it was that kind of made it even more funny. If that made sense.
Yeah.
And that was my moment of just because I think also just before I started the boss fight, I got the email saying I'd been made affiliate, so it kind of all happened at once. So for that kind of instant high, adrenaline rush, and then crash, I did beat the boss later that day though, so I did complete Rogue Galaxy, but it's actually the loss that kind of sits in my head for some reason.
Brilliant. Lemon?
I mean, it's nowhere as wholesome as as the others. Because the thing I remember the most is the 33 hydrates in a row in total during that stream. It was 44 hydrates. I know. Dan, you were there too.
I remember you
that.
complaining and thinking that we were actually trying to kill you.
Okay, but you were though. 33 hydrates? And poor garlic breadman actually drank like 38 of those 44 with me. I pity their soul. Oh
That's solidarity.
gosh. No, it wasn't. You know what? Maybe I should do that sometime. Hydrate for charity. Yes.
There's a lot of highlights. It's difficult to kind of pinpoint one down, but I'm gonna go with one. When I'd started streaming, and I was probably at the point as a Hearthstone streamer, I was getting like 15, 16 viewers. So we're talking 2015, maybe even 2014, I'm not sure. And there was a weird day on Twitch where for some reason, like Twitch went down, basically. The whole website went down. And I don't know why, but for some reason, my stream didn't go down. It kept running. And like everyone else on Twitch did. It was like I'd DDoSed the platform. I hadn't. But like if you went on the Twitch directory and you clicked on Hearthstone, I was the only streamer playing that game. And like Hearthstone was a big directory back then. I'm not sure how many views it has now on average, but it's usually like top 6, top 7 games of sort of like how many concurrent viewers are watching that game. So suddenly I've gone from like 16 viewers to like 300 or 400. And everyone's just spamming my Twitch chat. Why are you live how are you live right now? What have you done? Did you break Twitch? And I'm just there like talking my mouth off as quickly as possible, just saying as many things, just trying to be as engaging and as high energy as I possibly can to try and get some of these 400 viewers to stick around. Really, really weird. But yeah, that's just one that springs to mind. Thank you for the question, Winterblade. Thanks, Jack. Next question. Garlic Breadman asks, how quickly did you adapt to talking to a screen for multiple hours a day, several days a week? Or was that the norm before you started streaming? Confess, who talks to themselves all the time?
I do.
Beth does.
I do.
Never does.
I talk to the cats. Does that count?
Yeah, that counts.
Totally counts. Yeah, absolutely counts.
But okay, to be fair, I write a lot, actually, and sometimes you just need to read it out loud to actually know if it fits or not. And so talking to a screen wasn't something new to me. It also sometimes just reading things out loud when you're reading stuff also just helps. I don't know why, but it does. And yeah, so talking to a screen wasn't anything new. And as I said, I had friends from the get-go. So I had viewers and people in chat from the get-go due to me starting accidentally. So there's that too.
Anyone else? Beth, Lucy, was it a struggle to get used to talking to your camera, or was it just quite natural for you?
I do talk to myself a lot. Yeah, I think we're both on this. We probably talk less now. Like, yeah, I don't know. It wasn't as bad as I thought. I think I expected it to be pretty hard, but I think if you're just like not necessarily saying everything that's on your mind, but as you're kind of plodding along, just being like, so maybe I've got to do this, that kind of thing. It's not too bad. I think it's just.
I think that talking to a screen is only really difficult if there's no one talking back to you, if that makes sense. Yeah. Because I have streamed with a dead Twitch chat plenty in the past, and I think that is when it's really difficult, because if you want to grow a stream and you've got no viewers, you have to be talking. You have to be, even if there's no one there, you have to be engaging, because otherwise if people join the stream and you're just sat in silence, they're going to leave without saying anything a lot of the time. So you have to be, if you're talking through what you're doing or saying something, even if there's nobody there. And I think that's the hard part. But I think once you've got people in the chat talking back to you, for me at least, it feels pretty natural. Do you agree, Lucy?
Kind of. No, I do. Once people are chatting back, that's where I kind of find it easiest. Mm-hmm. And that's why I was so grateful. So the first day I streamed, I think, because I was streaming in the middle of the day, no one else from Konnichi was really on. Mm-hmm. So like all of my friends kind of came and like filled the chat for me. And I know that for my first stream, a bit like I'm doing today as well, I was talking very quickly, talking a bit too much, and just kind of blah, 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 like panic speak all the time. And it kind of overwhelmed the entire day. And then I think after a couple of days, I learned to tone it down. So I kind of have the opposite problem. Instead of learning to talk more on camera, I learned to talk less. But it was good.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, cool. But yeah, so it's not. I mean, I think a lot of us are on the same page, and that, like, if there's someone talking bad to you, it doesn't feel unnatural to talk. But it can be hard, I think, for streamers starting out when there's nobody there. Final question. Simply Aces asks, I know that you guys talked about anxiety earlier on in the stream. Are there any tricks that you use before streaming to handle that anxiety? Whether the anxiety happens on or off camera, how does one take it in stride?
I've definitely gotten into a routine to help me like prep for streaming, I think. Like I spoke to someone about this the other day and they were like, what? Because I genuinely will probably start getting ready like 2 hours before I start my stream.
Oh wow. I don't get up that early.
Yeah, well, I stream a little bit later, so it's not too bad. But like genuinely, I will kind of start getting ready. I will do my makeup, not because I feel that I need to, but because I can kind of sit with my music on, just kind of chill out, kind of get in a good headset, like happy headspace. Make sure that all of my stream is set up, do a test of everything. So I know that like 5 minutes before I need to go live, like everything is ready. And all I have to do is just sit and enjoy the stream.
Mm-hmm.
And I've gotten into that. I have a weird habit of making sure that I smell really good before I stream. I don't know why that is a thing I have to do, but I'm very terrified that if I smell bad, that you guys will smell me.
Do you have one of those newfangled microphones that can absorb your smell? And
That's a thing?
I wish I knew why this was a thing.
4-dimensional streaming.
I think it's one of those, like, the clutches. I'm like, if I smell good, then I have a good stream. Or, I don't know, but just getting into a routine helps me a lot, I think. Because then I'm like, okay, so everything's good, I'm ready. And that's helped me.
Okay. Anybody else struggle with anxiety? Have any sort of ways that you get past that? Aces asked that because she feels anxiety every time she starts to stream before she starts streaming, and she's just wondering if you have any tips.
I mean, it's very hard
well, I mean, I
give tips.
Oops, sorry.
It's easy done. It's easy done. We've got latency over
Sorry.
Discord, so it's super easy to interrupt by
Sorry.
accident. You're doing
No,
great
you're
at sort of
fine.
just keep going.
But yeah, as I said, it's hard to give any advice on that because it's such a subjective thing. Anxiety is very different for each individual, although there might be some similarities. I think one thing that is very important to do is to just kind of, how do I explain it? Find what works for you. Like for Konnichi, her having her routine works for her, and getting into a good headspace is definitely important. For me, if I'm not in a good headspace already, sitting there and actually being up to my schedule and having these small goals keep pushing me to do things. There have definitely been days where I'm like, I'm exhausted, I'm so tired, I don't want to stream, my anxiety is really bad, and then I sit down and chat comes and stuff like that, and I'm super happy. There are days where sometimes you just get to stream what you want from me personally. And yeah, there's a lot of, yeah, as I said, it's a very subjective thing. When I have bad anxiety, I just kind of do something physical, like working out or something, to just get it out of my system before I start, and then get into a better headspace because I've done something I know is good for me. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes, it does.
Do you have anything to add, Lucy, or have Beth and Lemon kind of summed it up, do you think?
I think they've summed it up pretty well. I mean, I think the main thing I use, I mean, I haven't quite worked out what balances that out for me yet, because I do find often that, like, I feel a bit breathless, or I start talking too much again, or I do get slightly overwhelmed just by being it. So I use a lot of grounding techniques, because sometimes if you're on camera, you can't really just have a meltdown. So I do a lot of kind of, there's like basic mindfulness techniques that I use. So for example, it's often with my feet on the floor, and I can like feel that, and I'll focus on how I feel on my feet, and I won't speak for a few minutes, or like I'll just focus on the game, and completely keep it separate from my headspace, and that tends to calm me down, and then I can start talking again. I mean, having so many good friends in the chat also helps. It's kind of a reassuring thing, but if I need to kind of focus it down to like stop myself kind of building any panic up, it's very much what's around me that's not in my head kind of thing that I do. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I just sound absolutely loopy, but it's fine.
Absolutely.
I'd agree with that a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I could help with this one, but honestly, I get very little anxiety when I start streaming now, to the point where I basically roll out of bed brushing my teeth this morning, and I'm like, oh, my screen's gone black. I'm meant to be playing the intro now. Oh, whoops. I'm just like, okay, I'm live. I promise. I'm prepared for this. Yeah. Yeah. But Ace, hopefully that helps out. I hope it answers your question. But that is all of the questions done, and I think it is getting around the time to wrap up the podcast. So thank you everyone for coming on. Now, of course, is the most important part of the podcast. It's time for you to promote yourselves and get those followers on your own stuff. So we'll start with you, Beth. Where can these wonderful people find you?
So you can find me on Twitch as Konnichi. I am also on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, kind of everything as Konnichi. If it's pastel or slightly questionable looking, it's probably something to do with me.
If it's swole, it's definitely you.
Yeah.
Not the swole.
You don't sound too happy about that.
I have gotten myself some interesting reputations. Luckily, not too bad. But yes. Oh, and also I am an art streamer. I know I kind of mentioned that, but yes, you can come to my page. There might be art.
Laboleyn?
Hi, I'm Laboleyn or Laboleyn across like every platform. So there's Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. At the moment, I'm streaming vintage PlayStation games, well, PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 1, and yeah, it's turning into kind of more of a just chatting vibe, but yeah, it's fine.
And Lemon?
I am Marie, also known as Lemon or Lemonbabiie. My @ is the exact same as it is here. You can find me on Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, as well as YouTube, although I don't have anything uploaded yet. There will be coming some stuff soon in the future. And yeah, I do a variety of different games. It's mostly cozy stuff, not gonna lie. We have dabbled into, just to trigger chat, FNF, aka Five Nights at Freddy's, once, and we will be trying to complete the game soon. But yeah, so we did loads of different things. We do some art, we do some games, and if you're okay with feral but wholesome gremlin sounds, then come and hang out.
Awesome, excellent. And of course, I'm Falcone. You're here if you're watching live, which you can be, 3:30 p.m. BST, twitch.tv/Falcone hosts. Then feel free to drop me a follow. And I'm live Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays. And otherwise, YouTube and Twitter and Instagram. I'm Falcone hosts everywhere. But that is going to be the end of the show. I hope that you've enjoyed it, and we'll see you again next week.